Well, friends, this is Sandeep Majan once again, and this time I am going to talk about do's and don'ts in case of writing task 1, right? And let's start with the do's and don'ts of writing task 1. As I have already explained in my earlier videos, and even my teachers might have told you that whatever is the given statement, the first one is whatever is the given statement, we have to rephrase the given statement. If a student is unable to rephrase the given statement, he is advised to at least change few words with the synonyms in the statement, right? Otherwise those words won't be counted, right? And you won't get credit for those particular words, right? Let's say we take an example like the graph shows the consumption of 4 different meat products in a country in between 1980 to 2015. Let's say this is the given statement, and as I have already told you in my earlier videos also, again I am repeating that whenever you are going to rephrase the statement, before rephrasing just read each and every word given in the graph, and especially the title line. For example, here it is given weekly consumption of meat products, and on this side this is grams per person per week, right? Now you can while rephrasing the statement, you can use this word weekly also. Let's say how to rephrase this statement. We can rephrase this statement by like this. For example, the given graph provides information, and now instead of shows we have used provides information. The given graph provides information about the weekly intake. Weekly we have taken from the title line, about the weekly intake of 4 different meat products in a particular country within 3.5 decades. As if you see 80 to 2015, these are going to be 35 years, and as you know that 10 years is equal to 1 decade, so 35 years is equal to 3.5 decade, and the data is calibrated in grams per person, right? So this is how you can rephrase the statement. Here you see that we have changed the word shows into provides information. Over here we have changed the word consumption into intake, right? And of course we have taken weekly. If you say that weekly information, here we have changed the word weekly, basically taken the word weekly from this particular title, right? So this is how you can rephrase the statement. Even you can instead of giving 4 different meat products, you could have named the products also. For example, the given graph provides information about the weekly intake of lamb, chicken, beef and fish in a particular country within a span of 3.5 decades, and the data was calibrated, or the data is calibrated in grams per person. This is how you can rephrase the statement, and you must try to rephrase it. Otherwise, at least change few words which are given in the statement. This was the first point to be taken care of, and second is that read every word written in the graph or chart. Why I generally emphasize on that, as I told you earlier also in the first point also, that you have to read each and every word. Let's say if per week was not given over here, there was only given grams per person, right? Intake would have been given in grams per person. Now if you don't see weekly over here, if you don't consider weekly, then it would become difficult for you to interpret, or the explanation will become little odd. Like for example, in the year 1980, you can say the consumption of fish was 120 grams per person, but 120 grams per person, but for within which duration you are supposed to mention. So in that particular case, you will have to take weekly from this particular title, that you will explain it like that. In the year 1980, the intake of fish was 120 grams per week, right? So this is why I say that you must read each and every word in the particular given in particular graph, so that you don't miss out any information, right? So now let's talk about the third point. This is a sort of dot which says that don't use number in case of percentage. Take the basically take care of data type. Like basically, let's say for example, if the data is given in percentage, then you are supposed to use percentage, and if the data is given in you can say numbers, then you are supposed to use numbers. For example, here the data is given in numbers, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, right? And you have to use the numbers only, and then generally in in pie charts, then you are given the data in the form of what is called percentages. Then in that case, if you are given the data in form of percentage, then use percentage only. So take care of the data type, in what type of data, in what type or in what shape the data is given in the particular graph. Now don't panic if more data is there in the graph, right? In that particular case, if the data is huge, like if you say here there is a huge amount of data in this particular graph, even if you see this line graph also, if you start explaining each and data at each and every point in this particular graph, because there are number of changes if you see, then it would be really difficult for you to write the graph in 150 words, or what I say 180 to 200 words. The words will definitely exceed its limit. So in that particular case, you are advised basically to, instead of writing data at each and every data, just basically convert it into a sort of trend. Like for example, you can say again I'm saying don't panic, right? For example, now this is how to explain this particular thing. So instead of explaining data at each and every point, better explain it like this. This is the year mentioned is 1988, and this year mentioned is 2015. Then you can explain this data that within a period of 1988 and 2015, the intake of lamb kept on fluctuating within the range of 400 grams to 600 grams. Now we haven't given any data, and in simply one line this entire information has been you can say explained. So don't panic. And similarly, let's say take another scenario in which if you see now there are a number of bars in this particular bar graph. So if you start explaining data at each and every point, again it would become difficult for you. So no need to panic. Simply now convert the data into trends. Like as I have already told you, if there are excuse me, years at the base in case of a bar graph, then you can join the middle points of the bars, and this will give you a sort of trend. Let's say now we talk about, this is basically number of Indian students going abroad, right? And to these 4 different countries. Now if we take the case of UK, here UK is here, and then there is a steep decline, and then after that if we say there is a significant rise in the number of Indian students opting for UK, then there is again, if you say there is it has the number has fell markedly. So instead of saying that it was 70,000 in the year this, then it was let's say around 38,000 in the year this, then it was around 100,000 in the year of this. Yes, you are to give the data. I'm not saying that ignore the data at all. As it was maximum, the figure among UK was maximum in the year what is called 2000. You have to mention that it reached its highest level in the year 2000, and you can give the data in parentheses, that is 100,000. Right? I have given one more do that you can give the data in parentheses. So right. So this is how, means no need to panic. I have given, you can make the trends, and you can explain the data which is let's say huge data after converting that data into sort of trends. I hope you might have understood the thing. Now let's talk about next, that is don't repeat words or sentences, right? And use synonyms for verbs and keep changing the adverbs. Like for example, if we say I have given you the vocab is basically those words are basically the adverbs only. Like for example, I have given you a lot of vocab. Let's say if the change is gradual, if you see in this particular scenario there is that production of rice in million tons, and if from 1980 to 86 if you see the production is increasing slowly, then you can use the word gradual or slow or steady. Like here you can use the word slowly. Now here it is also falling and slowly, but instead of if you have used the word gradual, that there was a gradual incline in production in between 1980 to 86, then don't use the word gradual over here. Here you can use that after, let's say 1996, the production fell slowly. Here you had used the word gradual. Now here you can use or slowly, or you can say the production fell steadily in between 1996 to 2002. So now here you have used different adverbs, right? And yes, verbs like for example, there is an increase, there is an increase, there is an increase, even if it is minor. So don't use the word increase, increase and increase in all the three cases. You can use the word increase over here in between 1980 to 1986. There was a steady increase. Then after that you can use the word after 1990 the production observed you can say a highly positive trend. And apart from that, in case of increase, you can say after 1990 the production inclined significantly, right? And in this case there was a minor jump, right? So means here you use the word increased, here once you use the trend, but since we were going to talk about the verb only, so increase, here incline, here basically you use the word jump. So this is how we are supposed to keep on changing the verbs and adverbs using the synonyms, because definitely in that way the examiner will think that vocab is good, right? So we will get definitely better bands. Let's talk about another you can say do's or don'ts, what we have to take care of. That give more stress on changes than data. You can give data besides in parentheses. Very recently I have told you, given you that particular example, right? And again the same thing is basically the same thing is repeating, that instead of giving data here, 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 instead of that we should have used that in the year 1980 the number of here is number of Indian students going to UK were the highest, and you can give the data in the bracket 70,000, right? The number of Indian students going to UK were highest, and you can give the data 70,000 in the bracket. In the second line you are giving New Zealand was the second most demanded country among the Indian students. Again you can give the data in the parentheses at, or you can use the data with at. So this was around 65,000, and least number of student preferred Australia in the year 1980, and you can give the data in parentheses that was 40,000. So this is how you can give the data in parentheses, and if you are giving the data, but better is stress more on the changes, that this was the highest, this was the second most demanded country, Australia was the least popular among Indian students, right? And in case of Canada, yes, you can give data that 55,000 students prefer to go to Canada, or landed up in Canada, or were interested in Canada for their higher education. So this is again that we should use less data. Yes, we can give the data in parentheses. Now let's talk about, yes, another very important feature that would take very good care of spellings and grammar, right? If the data is given in past, and if you have started in past, then better use past indefinite tense. Don't use present indefinite, or don't use you can use even present indefinite. Means once you have started in past indefinite, so better use past indefinite. Take care of that. And right, and secondly, of course, like for example, let me give you an example. Like this was the data, the entire data is of past, then you can say that For example, the maximum in the year 1980, maximum number of students went to UK. Now I'm using the word went to UK, right? And New Zealand was the second most demanded country. Now I have again used the word demanded, which is again a second form, right? And this is how means to say, in case let's say we are talking about 1990, so we can say that highest this, what is this country? This is basically yes, Canada. Highest number of student preferred. Now again second form preferred. Highest number of Indian students preferred Canada in the year 1990. Canada has taken the position of UK within the next decade, within 10 years. So means since UK was at first position in the year 1990, now the position has been taken by Canada in the year 1980. Sorry, the position has been taken by Canada in the year 1990, and Canada maintained its first position or maintained its highest level in the next decade also. So this is how means maintained again. So means what I mean to say is that use the what is called the grammar, use the type of tenses which you are using very carefully, right? And of course take care of spellings. For that I would like to say that revise, try to revise the task on after writing, right? So that is again a part of do also. Then after that, for example, yes, this is very important, count the words before writing conclusion. Yes, that I always advise to my students, that you must count the words before writing conclusion. Reason being, if let's say as I am saying that you must write in between 180 to 200 words, because if you haven't rephrased the statement, those words will not be counted. So before writing the conclusion, count the words, and if the words are less, just add some words to the body, because again conclusion cannot be of 60 or 70 words. It can be at least of 2 lines, maximum you can say 30 words or 35 words, right? So if you have already written the conclusion, then count the words, and if you fall short of words, then you will have to erase the conclusion. That will waste your time, right? So first, before writing conclusion, do count the words. Then yes, conclusion, what I have said, that conclusion should be crisp, right? Means we should focus on the most striking features of a particular graph while writing, most striking trends of a particular graph, instead of giving highest. Generally student gives that highest you can say production or whatever, highest sales of television was in this year, minimum was in this year. Instead of that, I would say that you should try to give you can say the sort of trends, right? For example, let's say in this particular case, if you see the no doubt the most of the students, now there is production of rice in this side. Most of the students will conclude it like that. To sum up, it can be seen or it can be inferred from the graph that maximum production was in the year 1996 and minimum was in the year 2004. That's it. But the better conclusion in this particular case can be, if you see now there are 2 trends, that is one from 1980 to 1996, there is a sort of positive trend or rather highly positive trend, and after that there is a sort of highly negative trend. So you can explain it like that. All in all, it can be inferred or it can be deduced from the graph that there were 2 trends. All in all, there were 2 trends in the graph from 1980. From 1980 to 1996, there was a positive trend, then it was followed by a highly negative trend. So this is one of the conclusions, or what I would say a better one in this particular case. Let's take the scenario, another scenario like this is another scenario. Now the students may conclude that what is called this is what is called the intake of chicken, right? They may say that the intake of chicken was highest in the year 2015, or you can say the intake of chicken and beef was highest in the case of 2015, whereas fish was minimum. Yes, it can be one of the conclusion, but let's say what could be the better conclusion, that we can say that the chicken, both chicken and beef showed a highly positive trend in their intake, or let's say we write how we write that all in all it can be inferred from the graph that both chicken and beef showed a highly positive trend in the graph within the given period, and their consumption increased manifold, and chicken being at the top. Fish remained almost the same with minor increase in its product, what is called consumption, and the lamb kept on fluctuating. So this is that. I hope you might have understood how you can explain it. Means we have used the trends. Here we have used the positive or upward trend. You can use, we use this fluctuating trend. Then again it was a sort of upward trend, but the increase was not much as in comparison with the chicken and beef. No, you can say one line, the fish also showed a positive or an upward trend, but the increase was not much in comparison with chicken and beef. It showed somewhat stagnant behavior. So within most of the period, right? So this is how you can conclude in a better manner. Yes. Then don't repeat data in conclusion. Yes, we are not supposed to give the data in the conclusion that you can say it was lowest the consumption of or intake of beef, and this is fish was lowest at 120 gram, and it was highest in the intake of chicken was highest at what is called 1100 plus grams. So means we are not to give the data in once we are giving conclusion. We are simply to show the trends. Yes, we can definitely mention years in that particular thing. Then one very important factor again, that try revise. Definitely try to write on. I'm not saying write too hastily to get time to revise. But the thing is, yes, generally what I have seen, my students have told me that their writing task was completed 5, 7, 10 minutes before, right? So if you have basically saved the time, if you have then that particular, yes, I will definitely recommend you that when in case you have saved the time, first revise task 2. Right, as task 2 carries more weightage as compared to task 1. So you first revise task 2. After revising task 2, do revise task 1. This will definitely help you. You might have committed some mistake in spellings or some grammar, because it happens generally. It happens with everybody. Sometimes it happens with us also. So definitely it's a human being. Tour is human. So it will definitely help in if you rectify those mistakes. Definitely your bands will get better. Right. So these were the basic do's and don'ts of writing task 1. Let's basically conclude these. Okay, fine. Let's now conclude it. I'm just going to repeat what were the do's and don'ts quickly, right? The first one was rephrase the given statement, or at least change a few words in the statement. This is very important for those words to be considered, right? And it gives a positive impression in the beginning only, right? And I have given you an example how to rephrase the statement. Then the second was read every word written on the graph. Basically that is very important, that if you read each and every word, it will first of all help you in better understanding of the graph, what to write, what not to write, and secondly it will give you it will help you in rephrasing the statement. Again, the example was given in this video. Then the third one is don't use numbers in case of percentages in case of number. So means the data which is given, or if it is the data is in percentages, then use percentages only. If the data is in numbers, use numbers only while writing the data. Don't intermix the data type. Even it happens sometimes while speaking, but better do while writing, right? So then, yes, very important. Generally students get panic when there is a huge amount of data, as I have told you in the video, shown you in the video also. No need to get panic if there is a lot of data in, let's say, bar graph, if there is a lot of data in table, even in line graph. No need to panic. Simply ignore the minor, you can say, details, and convert it into a sort of what is called a trend. Then if you get it converted to a sort of trend, as I have given you the examples also, then definitely you will be able to you can say interpret that particular data. And secondly, means since if we go into details, that if we start writing each and every data or figure, then definitely the words will increase, rather more than 300 or something, 400, around 400. Then we don't have that much time, right? We are short of time. We have to complete that within 20 minutes. So we should write just the main changes which are there in the particular graph. So don't panic at all. Just ignore minor details, right? Then don't repeat words and sentences. You are given a number of words, as we have given you a lot of vocab. Let's say if there is a steep incline, you can use the word steep, you can use the word sharp, you can use the word noticeable, you can use the word significant. Means these are adverbs basically. So the number of adverbs are with you. Then yes, do keep on changing verbs also. Like the change is like increase is there. You can use the word increase, you can use the word incline, you can use the word swell. So means different words have been given to you for incline, and for decline also we have given you different words or vocab, you can say. So use those vocabs, right, words alternatively, so that it doesn't look like as a sort of repetition of words, right? Or don't use the similar sentence time and again, let's right. Then after that, let's yes, give more stress on changes than data. Yes, this I just keep on repeating that instead of giving data at each and every point, better give stress on changes where there was a rapid incline or there was a fluctuating sort of trend. So this will save your time also, and definitely you will be writing a crisp reply, and that too within time limit, within word limit. Because if you write more than 180 words, as we keep on increasing the words, the chances of committing mistakes are very high, and the chances of committing mistakes are there. I'm not saying everybody commits mistake, but yes, you may commit some sort of grammatical or spelling mistake while going for writing more number of words. So avoid more number of words, just be within the limit, right? It will definitely save you bends. Then yes, take care of spellings and grammars, definitely, and you must take care of these two factors. Then count the words before writing conclusion, as I have already maintained. Do count the words before conclusion, so that you don't fall short of words. If you fall short of words, you will have to erase the conclusion. Then it would definitely cost you the time. So please count the words before writing the conclusion. Then last is yes, don't use data in the conclusion, that you can say the chicken was maximum in the year 2000, chicken and beef was maximum in the year 2000 at 1100 grams and 900 grams, and lamb was less at this many grams, and fish was the least 1980 at 120, and this is not the basically to be used in the conclusion. Simply we have to give the trends in the conclusion. Yes, definitely we have to use the years in that particular case. And once again, revise if you get the time. And most of my students say that they did the both task 1 and task 2 in 50 minutes or 52 or 55 minutes, means they were saved with 5 to 10 minutes. Then in that case you have to revise. But again, I'm maintaining that if you get time to revise, first revise task 2, as task 2 has got more weightage than task 1, and after that go for the task 1. So that's it from my side. This is Sandeep Mahajan. Thank you very much for watching videos. And yes, one thing which I must say, that I am not the views are there, but the comments are not there. I would definitely love to have your comments once you watch the video, whatever is the comment, whatever you feel genuinely about the video, and if you find that the points which I have talked about in the video, they would be beneficial for you, they will be beneficial for your friends who are going to take IELTS in your future. So please pass on this YouTube link to your friends also, and tell them to watch the videos. Thank you very much. This is Sandeep Manjan from Excelsior Academy, Amritsar. We are based at Amritsar. If you are from Amritsar, our office is just opposite to Police Commissioner's residence. If you see just opposite to Police Commissioner's residence near Celebration Mall, there is a lab called Healthwell Lab. Just above Healthwell Lab, there is our office with the name Excelsior Academy. We have named it as like that 8 Banders Excelsior Academy, right? It is basically a sort of our tagline, Excelsior Academy, the 8 Banders Academy, as a number of our students have got 8 bands in different modules, and even overall also. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.